Hi, my crafty friends. My name is Jan Dufour, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. I live just outside of Louisville, Kentucky. Today, we're going to make ourselves think about our stamps in a different way. Of course, St. Patrick's Day is coming up, and I didn't have any St. Patrick's Day sayings, nor did I have any Shamrocks or anything leprechaun-y or that kind of thing. But pots of gold, that would have been good. So I looked at my craft stash and realized I had lots of hearts. So when you put 3 hearts together, or 4 if you want a 4-leaf clover, you get a shamrock. And then, oh, happy day. Who can't be happy about St. Patrick's Day? Anyway, if this is your first time here, welcome. I appreciate you joining. My old friends that have come back to visit, I appreciate you as well. If you have any questions, first of all, if you're watching me on YouTube and you want a copy of the project sheet, then you need to go to my website, which is stampmesilly.com. If you have any questions or if you'd like a free catalog, go to my email address and send me a note, jandufour@yahoo.com. And if you see anything here you'd like to purchase and don't have another demonstrator, you can go to my website online store at jandufour.stampinup.net. This is the last week of celebration. So if you want free sets and free paper or any of those types of things, you need to go quickly to the website and choose that. They have added some new things. So say you ordered in January and you think you have all the sets you want, there's more stuff available. One is a die set that's worth like $45 and you'd get that free for a $60 order. That's almost 50% off. Anyway, let's go ahead and make this card. This is a 5x7 card because I needed the room for the shamrock and saying. And so I made an envelope. Stampin' Up! Used to sell them, but they don't anymore. And I have found that when you buy them from most places online and the box stores, they're kind of cheap. They don't feel like they belong with my card. So I'm going to show you how to make one if you use DSP, which is 12 by 12 cut down. And I'm also going to show you how to make a simple one with 8.5 by 11 cards stock. These are the, let me put this aside for right now. I'll put this up in the corner. These are the dies we're going to use. They come from, first of all, the stamp set is Kindest Expressions. This is the Oh Happy Day. Then we got the heart from Hearts of Elegance dies. And we got the frames from 2 different places. Grow with Love dies. And also Linked Together dies. I have used both of those sets, all 3 of them, I think, in the last couple months. I like to try to repeat them so you don't feel like you're having to buy stamps all over the place. But take a look in your stash. If your staying is a little bit smaller, you might have something that would be equally as good. Now, magically, I have pre-cut, because this is going to be a long enough die showing you the card and the envelope. So I'm getting these out of the way so I don't lose them. Don't need that. Let's bring our sets and our pre-cut stuff over. So a 5x7 card is actually 10 inches by 7 inches, scored at 4, I lied, at 5. So that makes that. And then we have the first layer, which if you have gone to my website, I don't see a short one, so I'll take out the multiple one, but I have a 5x7 card with the possible layers that you might want, and I did indeed use a 4 3/4 by 6 3/4 for the Shamrock. Isn't that a good color name? Anyway, and the second layer, which is the DSP, is 4.5 by 6.5. Those measurements are on the project sheet. So let's get to that. We need some glue. Love the mono adhesive because I frequently have to reposition things, and it comes in handy when I've gotten things in the wrong spot. Okay, come on, guys. Need a little muscle and possibly a pin. I probably left it sitting open on my desk. Easily fixed. There you go. It'll come out now. Matter of fact, when you do that, kind of watch out because it might come out in big old blobs. I really should probably open a new one. I'm not going to. We'll get through it. We'll get through it. Maybe. Well, okay. There's glue there. There we go. See, there was a chunk. So when that happens, good way to show you, grab a piece of scrap paper. Come on now, I know I have scraps. This is a blob. You don't want that. Go ahead, smear it all over. Get rid of there is in fact a blobby blob. I'm gonna get rid of that. And then make sure there's no more blobs in there. Yeah, just kind of move it over. Throw that piece, which you already had in the garbage, away. Now this works perfectly. All right, there we go. Shouldn't usually have that much trouble. Oops, with a layer, because that's the easy part of the card, right? So, like I said, nice that you can lift it up. Oops, see, it's still not square. I need to pull it down a little bit. Love my two-way glue. Okay. Then we're going to put the layer on. And this is the layer we're using. If you are cutting something for the layer that is directional, you want it in the portrait mode. This one really wouldn't have mattered so much. And this is not exactly the same size as this because it was the last of the paper that I had. And I wanted to be able to show it to you. But it's okay that it's a little bigger on one side. Although it would be better if it was centered. I told you, you can take this up. And yes, it makes a little bit of jagged nut. It doesn't matter because that's going to be all covered up. I'm just putting a little bit more glue down. Oh, this has been fun. All right, so what I'm saying is this border and this border are the same, but then you kind of want this border and this border to match. And it needs to go up a little bit more. So if that bothers you, you're going to want to cut. I will get it where I want it because I'm the boss of this paper. Okay, there we go. All right. If the fact of the differences from the top and bottom bother you, you could have made this a little bit smaller. I just thought it didn't matter that much. All right. Now, this is our glimmer paper, and it's Shy Shamrock. How convenient. I just thought that, St. Patrick's Day should be a little happy and a little bit fun. So I went ahead, and these are just glued flat down. I'll put this about here. And then once you have one down, and again, depending on whether you're doing 3 or 4, you may have to overlap it a bit. But with just 3, you can kind of just line them up with the center touching. And then we'll put our 3rd one down because I'm cool with just 3. And yeah, there we go. And for the stem, what did I do with my glimmer? You could leave it stemless. Well, I'm in my garbage can right now, so let's see if I can find the glimmer paper. Apparently not. I'm gonna leave it. No, I can't leave it stemless. It requires a stem. Hang on, let me get a little piece of glimmer paper. And so to make the stem, I just made it wider on the bottom. And actually, I want it to curve a little bit, so I'm going to cut that off. A little bit wider at the beginning and down to a smaller point. No science involved, not a big deal. And if you don't want to curve it, you don't have to curve it. But I just thought it should curve. So we'll put some glue on that. Just a little bit on the bottom. Just a little bit on the bottom and a little on the top. And kind of scoot that underneath, or at least even with. There you go. And then I did put the glimmer flat down with glue. It's thicker than regular. I don't know if it's the same as cardstock. It might be a little stiffer than cardstock. I don't know that it's necessarily bigger. And I am purposely putting that over, one for sizing, and also because I had this one over, I just thought this balanced it out a little bit better. And then we're gonna stamp live. This is scary. Usually, I put it in my stamp positioner. If you don't want to spend a lot of money and you want to make your own stamp positioner, go to my website. Again, that's stampmesilly.com, and search for stamp positioner, and I show you how to make it. It will cost you, well, now the cases, you get 4 cases and you only need 1. If you have a case laying around, then that doesn't cost you anything, and the rest of it is very inexpensive as well. But I'm gonna choose not to do that without getting my head in the way. Let's see how well I do. We shall see, but just in case, I got another one. Plus, paper has 2 sides. Good job. All right, let's get this going. Now on this, we use dimensionals to lift it up a little bit. That's okay when you mail if you use one set of dimensional height, if you will. Not so good if you start piling dimensions on top of dimensions on top of dimensions. That's not a good thing. I think it has to be 1/4 of an inch thick, your envelope, in order to make it through the automated stamp machine thingy. And always be aware when you're adding layers, and because of the envelopes, I actually weighed them because the cardstock envelope is obviously a little bit heavier. This is a 5x7 card. I did weigh it. It is easily under 1 ounce, so you need not worry about mailing issues. It only needs 1 stamp. There we go. Oh, happy day. Yay. And then, of course, I had to use Shamrock because we had them. And I need my tool. And this time I think I'm going to use a bigger one just because there's space. Again, if you don't press it down, it's not live until you do. All right, and these are the 2024-26 in color resin dots. All of the instructions, what I used, etc., is all on my website. Again, that's stampmesilly.com. The post for today is the 25th. I have to think. Yes, the 25th of February, 24. All right, now that we have our beautiful cards made, we need to make an envelope. So if you're willing to use your DSP, it's a great way to get rid of the DSP that you have that you don't really want anymore. My instructions have floated away. And I need to give you the measurements. Hang on. Oh, yep, here we are. Okay, so the measurements, I have the measurements for both the 8.5 by 11 and the 12 by 12. So on the 12 by 12, you need to cut it at 11 by 10, and you need to cut that in landscape mode, which means the 10 is this way, the 11 is this way. If it has directions, you need to have it, like I said, in the, actually, it's landscape mode because it's wider this way, but, and then you need to score it. So just think about it. When you flip it over, okay, you want this to be right side up. So the edges are going to be scored on this end, and you will score along the 10-inch side, which is the edge. No, the 10-inch side is this one. So we're going to score that at 1 and 4, I'm sorry, 8 and a quarter. This is the top. I want the flap to be at the top. So this is the top of the page, and I'm scoring the flap. So go ahead and do that. And then the other side is 1 inch. I'll use this measurement this way. That way more of the paper is along the edge. And then we're going to turn it back to its portrait mode. And on this, we're going to score at 2 7/8 on both sides. On both sides, 2 7/8, which is 2 tick marks before the 3. And rotate 180, 2 7/8. Alrighty, put this aside for now. All right, now there is a picture on the back showing you where to cut. This is the one using the 8.5 by 11 inch, but you can substitute the other numbers. It's still going to be the same way. So if I put this with the flap up at the top, first I'm going to burnish all my edges. Let's do that. Oops. Come on. And this side. This is the bottom flap. Open this up. These are the edges. And I saw this. I pressed too hard. In this case, it doesn't matter because that's going to be cut off. How fortunate is that? All right. There you go. There you go. DSP, you don't use. That's one of the reasons I don't use my my cutting tool as a scoring tool that often. But that's okay. It'll work out this time just fine. So if we put the flap this way, it shows that we're going to take an angle off of this side. And it is, you know, I'm not going to lie, it does go a hair, the cut, a hair past that, but that's okay. So we did that. And this side is also got a little bit of, and this side I didn't do as much because it's a really long one, but that's okay. And we're going to do this side again with just a little bit. It just makes it a little easier because this is thick paper going into the fold. And I'm just going around and everything's getting a hair trim for the edges. Let's see where this one is. Sometimes you have to fold it again so you can see where you are cutting. And sometimes the other side is easier to see. Just figure out which one. There's nothing wrong with you just doing this and cutting it, because then you can certainly see the edges. And on long ones like this, maybe your longer scissors would actually be better. Then and if these, I'm okay with going ahead and cutting them. So then let's get rid of all of this stuff. Cutting the angles off saves me the little pieces. It's not really a big deal. It doesn't really matter. And then this is going to fold. So we're going to get our glue and put it not on this side, but on the flap, because that way you've got like an edge to follow and you know it goes over to the far side, and that's perfect. I do not put the flap inside. It might aesthetically look better, but when you're trying to put things inside, it makes it a little bit harder. I'm going to go ahead and do this. And because I know there is a little gap there, and that's okay, you can do one of two things. You can just ignore it, because when you fold it down, it's really not going to matter. But if that really is driving you crazy, you can take a little bit of magic. I'm going to get rid of that because the end has bent. A little bit of magic tape that disappears and put it right on top of that. And you know what? They're not going to notice that. Really? Seriously? You cannot see. Let's see. You cannot see it. So it's cool. All right. Now, on my envelopes, I did use tear and tape for a couple of reasons. One, if you're like putting it aside to be used at a later date, or if you're giving the card to somebody to use, then this way they can decide when to pull off the flap. The other thing is when a person is opening this, if there's no glue up in here, it's much easier to stick your thumb in there and lift up the flap. So just be aware. This is not mailable unless you put a white label on it. You can use an Avery label to mask it over, or you can just take a piece of white, copy paper and go ahead and write the label on there. They have to be able to read it. So that's a good idea. Now, quickly for this one, the 8.5 by 11, it's made exactly the same way. The measurements are a little bit different because it's shorter and not quite as wide. So for the bottom flap, we're just using a 1/2 inch, which is acceptable. On the top, we're only using 3/4 of an inch. Again, not a problem with that. The edges are still, or are not still, but are 7. Let me see, make sure. Let me turn this over. I think it's still 2. Yeah. It is still 2 7/8. So it's the same as the larger envelope because the size of the envelope is the same. 2 7/8. And rotate it. 2 7/8. Put this aside. We're going to cut it the same way after we, well, what did I do wrong? Something serious. The measurements are wrong on the thing, so I will fix that before it goes live. The measurements should have been, let me see. It's not 2 7/8 because that's what this is, and there's not enough room in there. Let me think. It has to fold over. So where's my card? Put my card in. Oh, did I do this side of this? I never edit, but I might be taking this part out because it'll just be too confusing. Yes, I did the edges wrong. I should have had the 3/4 up here, and I should have had the 1/2 inch down there. So let me get another piece of paper so you can actually see that on the correct way to do it. So flap is at the top along. If I had read my instructions, which are there, and then 3/4 on the bottom, had I paid attention to the actual directions, I would have been okay. 2 7/8. So we almost had it right. We just had it rotated in the wrong direction. So see, even people who've been making paper crafting for 40 years make mistakes. And that is okay. This paper, you can use all kinds of pieces on it to cut out, so don't throw it away. All right, so now we're gonna burnish. Here's our flap. Now you can see the flap is much smaller, but you know, that's okay. If you find 5x7 envelopes that are lovely and thick and beautiful, put it down in the comments. I would love to know. I have not been successful finding anything that I deem worthy. So I tend to use my DSP when I make a 5x7 card. Again, same deal. We are taking out a bite of that and a bite of this going down to the edge on all 4 sides. So we'll do that here. Show me the edge. And that, again, is just for ease of folding, especially with the cardstock because it's thicker. Get that out. We're almost done. I know this is probably too long, but I try to keep them to like under 20 minutes. I'm not quite sure what this is going to be with my flub, but that's okay. You know, I'm filming this actually a week early, and it's snowing out again. Did I mention I live just outside of Louisville, Kentucky? We've had flooding and tornadoes and just insane things. We, personally, our family has been very fortunate that we're not affected by them, but many, many, many people in Kentucky are. Again, put the glue on the edge, fold it down, hold it, put the glue on the whole part of this so it holds, hold it down, and you'll notice right here, it doesn't quite meet. So here comes Jan to the rescue. We are gonna go there. Lovely. Okay. And then we're gonna use the tear and tape because I am not gonna be using this envelope right now. And again, you know, this flap is not as pretty because it's not as long. The other one, you can use a corner rounder to make the flap a little bit nicer looking, I guess. And so you get that. Now on this one, if you wanted to stamp on it, or if you're not mailing it, you could definitely put, another Shamrock on it or whatever. I don't think a Shamrock glued onto it, it might not survive the mailing process. The mailer, they're having a hard time right now. But I have a sister-in-law who retired from the mailing. She said it was, kind of interesting. So anyway, so you can have rounded edges. Why does that one look funny? I do not want to leave this where people will look at it and go, that looks funny. Hang on. I think I did not put it in quite far enough. There we go. All right. So that's it. This is my project sheet, which you find on my website if you're on YouTube. Website again is stampmesilly.com. We're at the end of celebration. The end of February 28th is the end. For every $60 you spend, you get a free choice of different things. They do have our join promotion. I have a team that comes and goes. Whenever they like the join promotion, they join. And then when they get, they don't want to continue. If you joined today, you would have until the end of June before you would have to have a $300 minimum, which again, you don't have to. If you want to drop, that's fine too. Anyway, the promotion is you get for $99, that's what it costs you plus shipping, no tax. You get $125 worth of anything you like in the catalogs. Plus, this time you get a special stamp set that's not available for purchase, and 2 different choices. One of them you can buy 2 sets of markers of your choice, either the subtles, regals, subtles, whatever you want to choose, or you can just get an extra $30 worth of product. But great deal if you want to join. Drop if you want to. I'm okay with that. Have fun with this, and happy St. Patrick's Day. Bye.